What if the creatures sharing your home were sharing secrets you couldn't understand? What if they possessed a language just for them? Not barks, not meows. Something far more intricate. Something hidden in plain sight. For years, we thought we knew everything about our beloved pets. We fed them. We played with them. We even talked to them. But what if they were talking to each other in ways we never imagined? What if their silent glances, their subtle movements, were part of a deep, complex conversation? A conversation that could change everything. Prepare to have your perception of animal intelligence completely redefined. This is Dog and Cat Universe Hub. And today, we dive into a mystery that unfolded right in our own living room. My name is Mark, and I'm about to tell you a story that still gives me chills. A story about Buster, our magnificent golden retriever, and Luna, our sleek, enigmatic black cat. For a long time, their relationship was what you might call typical. Buster, a gentle giant, mostly kept to himself, preferring the quiet solitude of his plush bed. Luna, on the other hand, was the queen of the house. Graceful, independent, and notoriously particular. They coexisted. They tolerated each other. Sometimes, they even shared a sunbeam, but genuine interaction, meaningful connection, we rarely saw it. We just assumed they were two different species living parallel lives under the same roof. That was our first mistake. It started subtly. So subtly, in fact, that I almost dismissed it. A flick of Luna's tail, not in annoyance, but almost deliberately. And then Buster would shift. Not just a random movement, but a calculated turn of his head, or a slight adjustment of his body. At first, I thought it was coincidence, just the way animals are. But then, it happened again and again. I'd be watching TV, and out of the corner of my eye, I'd see it. Luna would be perched on the back of the sofa, overlooking the living room. Buster would be asleep on his rug. Suddenly, Luna would dip her head, just slightly, and her ears would swivel forward. Buster, without opening his eyes, would let out a soft sigh, almost imperceptible. Then he would slowly, deliberately get up and walk straight to the water bowl. Every single time. It was too consistent, too precise. It wasn't just a cat wanting a drink and a dog coincidentally getting up. It felt orchestrated. I started paying closer attention, looking times at them. The way Luna would narrow her eyes, not in aggression, but in deep focus, whenever Buster was about to do something she seemingly approved of. The way Buster would glance at Luna, a quick, almost imperceptible flick of his gaze, before he settled down in a new spot. It was like they were checking in with each other, without making a sound. It was baffling, and utterly fascinating. My wife, Sarah, thought I was imagining things. "Mark," she'd say, "they're just animals. They have instincts." And she was right, but instincts don't explain synchronized movements. They don't explain silent cues. I started jotting down notes, little observations, date, time, what Luna did, what Buster did. My notebook quickly filled with strange patterns. There was the kitchen stare from Luna that always preceded Buster asking to go outside. There was the tail tap from Buster that would send Luna to the window, usually just before a squirrel appeared. We were witnessing something extraordinary, something beyond typical pet behavior. The idea of setting up cameras seemed extreme at first, invasive even. But my curiosity had grown into an obsession. I needed answers. We needed to see what happened when we weren't there, when they thought they were alone. So, one weekend, I carefully installed discrete cameras in the living room, the kitchen, and the hallway. Tiny lenses, almost invisible, watching their every move. Sarah was still skeptical, but even she couldn't deny the growing mystery. "What do you expect to find?" she asked, a hint of amusement in her voice. I didn't know, but I felt a tremor of anticipation, a thrilling sense of being on the verge of a discovery. The first few days of footage were uneventful, just Buster sleeping. Luna napping. The usual. My initial excitement started to wane. Maybe Sarah was right. Maybe I was just projecting human patterns onto animal behavior. Then, on the fourth day, as I fast-forwarded through hours of mundane footage, something stopped me cold. It was late afternoon. The house was empty. Buster was lying by the patio door, dozing. Luna was nowhere in sight. Suddenly, Buster's ear twitched. Then his tail gave two distinct, slow thumps. He didn't move otherwise, just those two thumps. A moment later, Luna glided into the frame, emerging from under the dining table. She walked directly to Buster, sniffed his nose briefly, and then settled beside him. Not touching, but close. And then they both just lay there, peaceful, together. What did those thumps mean? Was it a signal? A confirmation? I rewound the footage, played it again and again. It looked like Buster had called her, and she had responded. This wasn't coincidence. This was communication. The next breakthrough came a few days later. This time, it involved food. We usually fed them at separate times to avoid any squabbles. But one morning, Sarah was running late for work. She left their breakfast out, assuming they'd eat when they were ready. I was still asleep. The cameras, however, were wide awake. The footage showed Luna approaching her bowl. She sniffed it, took a few bites, then looked over at Buster's full bowl. Buster was still asleep in his bed. Luna then did something incredible. She nudged her own bowl, then looked at Buster. She repeated this, nudging the bowl with her nose, then staring at him. Buster stirred. He opened one eye. Luna then let out a soft, almost imperceptible chirrup. Buster slowly got up. He lumbered over to his bowl. He looked at Luna. Luna looked back at him. Then he began to eat. It was like she was telling him, "Hey, your breakfast is ready. It's safe." It was a moment of pure, unspoken teamwork. It felt like watching a highly synchronized dance. I called Sarah immediately. She came home that evening, skepticism replaced by a wide-eyed wonder as I showed her the clips. We spent hours reviewing footage, frame by frame, slow motion. We started compiling a sort of dictionary of their interactions. A specific ear twitch from Buster meant alert. A slow blink from Luna meant all clear. A gentle nudge from Buster's nose meant come closer. A swish of Luna's tail, held high, meant follow me. It was like cracking an ancient code. We were uncovering a secret language, one that had been spoken in our home for years, right under our very noses. The more we watched, the more we realized how deeply intertwined their lives were. They weren't just coexisting. They were collaborating. They were supporting each other. We saw Luna guiding Buster around obstacles he couldn't see. Subtle shifts in her body language, steering him clear of a forgotten toy. We saw Buster alerting Luna to a distant sound, a low rumble in his chest that only she seemed to hear. Their communication wasn't just about sharing information. It was about mutual protection, about care, about love. And that's when the truly shocking discovery happened. One evening, I noticed Buster was acting strangely. He was restless, pacing more than usual. He kept nudging my leg, then looking towards the kitchen. I assumed he wanted a treat, but he ignored the treat jar when I offered it. He then went over to Luna, who was curled up on her favorite chair. Luna immediately sat up. Her eyes, usually calm, were wide and focused. She began to emit a series of soft, rapid meows. Not loud, attention-seeking meows. These were different, urgent. She then started to headbutt Buster. Not hard, but persistently. Buster responded with a low, worried whine. He then went to the kitchen door and scratched at it lightly. Luna followed, rubbing against his legs. Their combined behavior was unlike anything we had ever witnessed. It wasn't about food. It wasn't about going outside. This was something else. Their agitation was palpable. They both seemed desperate to get our attention, their silent language now amplifying into a desperate plea. Sarah and I exchanged a look of growing concern. They were trying to tell us something vital. Following Buster's gaze, I looked towards the oven. Nothing seemed amiss. But Luna was now pawing at the base of the cabinet next to it. Slowly, I knelt down, and then I smelled it. Faintly, at first. Then unmistakably. Gas. A slow, almost undetectable leak from the oven's pilot light. It was barely noticeable to us, but to their far more sensitive noses, it must have been screaming. My heart pounded in my chest. If they hadn't alerted us, if they hadn't communicated so urgently, who knows what could have happened? The silent language we had been decoding was not just a curiosity. It was a lifeline. We called the emergency gas company. They confirmed the leak. A small, dangerous issue that could have escalated into a catastrophe. Buster and Luna had saved us. Their secret communication, once a source of fascination, became a profound act of heroism. From that day forward, our relationship with Buster and Luna transformed. We didn't just see them as pets anymore. We saw them as guardians. As intelligent, sensitive beings with a deep understanding of their world and each other's. We learned to listen not just with our ears, but with our eyes, with our hearts. We learned to trust their subtle cues, their unspoken warnings. The secret language was no longer secret. It was a part of our family's daily rhythm. They still had their quiet conversations, their head tilts and tail flicks. But now, we understood. We appreciated the intricate dance of their communication. It was a beautiful testament to the unseen bonds that connect all living things. It taught us that true understanding often lies beyond words. It's in the glance, it's in the gesture, it's in the silent, profound love that transcends species. So, take a moment today. Look at your own pets. Really look. What are they trying to tell each other? What secrets are they sharing? You might be surprised at what you discover. Because the universe of our dogs and cats is far richer and more mysterious than we ever dared to imagine. If this story touched your heart, please give this video a big thumbs up. It helps us share these incredible animal tales with more people. What do your pets do that makes you think they're having secret conversations? Tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Dog and Cat Universe Hub for more heartwarming, incredible stories from the animal kingdom. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another adventure. Thank you for watching.